Hello, it's Sonia here at The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be doing another 18-inch doll project. If you don't know what an 18-inch doll is, I have American Girl dolls, but there's also ones called My Life. There's Canadian Girl dolls. There are Australian Girl dolls. There's a whole bunch of different 18-inch dolls. And this is going to be a pair of basic pants that you can make for your 18-inch doll. Now, my previous video we made a little top, and this one we are going to be making pants to go with that top. So I am using my G hook, and I believe this is also 4.25 millimeter. This is a really old one, so it doesn't have the millimeters on here. It was from my grandmother. And we're going to be using this white yarn. So the top's made with DK weight yarn, and the pants you will also want to use DK weight yarn. Now with this pattern you will be able to adjust according to your doll. So I'm going to be making my pair of pants to fit American Girl dolls, but not all 18-inch dolls, their measurements are the same. Some have slightly thinner waist, thicker waist. I know their feet sizes can vary, just their builds can vary. So just keep that in mind. But with this pattern, you should be able to adjust accordingly to fit your doll. So this yarn, I would say it's a little bit lighter than a DK weight, but I want to try it out. The other pants that you see in the beginning, the green ones to go with the green top, that is Paintbox Yarn's DK weight yarn. Another good choice would be Stylecraft DK or any, DK. I mean, probably even Karen Simply Soft. Even though that's labeled as a number 4 worsted weight yarn, I don't feel that that's like a true worsted weight yarn. I think it's a little bit of a lighter weight. So let's get started. So these pants are going to be made waist down. They are pull-on style pants, so there's no buttons or snaps, zippers, none of that. So really easy styling. And as I said before, you'll be able to adjust this to fit a variety of waist sizes and even leg sizes too. So to begin, we are going to chain 5. So we are making the waistband first, and then we will work on the rest of the pants. So we have our 5 chains. So in our second chain from our hook, we are going to be working in the back bump. And I'm going to be doing a ribbing that I recently discovered. I really like it. I made a hat pattern using this, and I think it's going to be really good for a waistband. So we want to yarn over. It's a half double crochet slip stitch, as I call it. So we're going to yarn over. In that second bump from our hook, you're going to insert your hook in there. So we are going to yarn over again, pull through that one loop. Now instead of yarning over and pulling through like you normally would for a half double crochet, you're going to pull through these 2 loops, these 2 bottom loops over your hook. So it's kind of like a scrunched half double crochet. It's the only way, but it actually really makes a nice ribbing. So we have our first half double crochet slip stitch. We're going to do that again all the way across, so we're going to have 4. So it's a very simple stitch, don't overthink it. And once you get going with it, you'll get the hang of it really fast, I'm sure. Alright, so we have our 4 stitches there, so we're going to chain 1 and turn. So the waistband will be made in rows, the rest of the pants are made in the round. So we're chaining 1 and turning. Now we're going to be working in the back loops for the remainder of the waistband. So we're just going to slip stitch across in the back loop. And rule of thumb, keep your slip stitches nice and relaxed. You don't want them too tight. It's really easy to make those stitches too tight. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to work that half double crochet slip stitch in that first stitch in the back loop. So an easy way to see where to work is have the tops of the stitches facing you. So you can see these are the tops of the stitches. I'm looking right at them, and that helps you determine where to work. So we want to work in the back loop there. and then just continue to work that half double crochet slip stitch all the way across. And what this will do, will just create a nice stretchy ribbing there, chain one, turn, and we're going to slip stitch across. So you're going to be repeating rows 2 and 3, so your slip stitch row and your half double crochet slip stitch row. So I already did a sample, and for my sample I needed to work 40 rows, and you want to end on a half double crochet slip stitch row. So my 40th row is actually when we turn it into a circle. So I made 39 rows first, and then I turned it into a circle, which I will show you when this is long enough. So you just want to be repeating that, and you can test it on your doll. Just, you know, make a bunch of rows and then, you know, get your doll and just kind of, you don't want to have it overly stretched when you're measuring. Just, you know, gently just measure it around your doll's waistband. Or you could even take a tape measure and measure, you know, how big your doll's waist is, and then just make your waistband according to those measurements. Maybe just make them slightly, like, let's say the waist is 12 inches. I would make your waistband maybe like 11 and a half, because you don't want it to be loose. You want it to, you know, stretch. You want it to be snug on the waist a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm going to do 39 rows because I'm going to have a total of 40, because that's what I did in my sample. So that will work for me. And you can definitely try that and see if that would be enough for your doll. Or maybe you would even need to add a couple more rows. But 40 or 39 was the magic number for me for my samples. Okay, so we have our 39 rows, and you can see it has a lot of nice flexibility. So now we need to turn this into a circle. So what we need to do is our odd row, I'm just considering that the right side. So this is the odd row, so that's going to be facing you. So you need to fold it, so you're going to have the wrong sides touching. And before we do that, we should have chained one. Alright, so we chained one. You want to have your wrong sides touching. And now we are going to join by working our final row of slip stitch on the ends of our last row. So for me, that was row 39, and our first row, row 1. So I have 40 stitches. If this is too much or you need to do more, just keep repeating your slip stitch row, your half double crochet slip stitch row, and you want to end on a half double crochet slip stitch row. So it doesn't matter how many rows you work, you just want to make sure you end on a half double crochet slip stitch row. Alright, so let's join these guys. So we've chained one. So what we're going to do is we are going to work on the ends of row 1 here, and then our last row. So we are going to work in that front loop of the end of row 1. So inserting my hook in that front loop, and then I am working in the back loop of the end of my row 39, and I'm just working that slip stitch. And I'm just going to do that across. So, oops, I did it in the back loop, sorry. Front loop of the end of row 1, and back loop of the end of row 39. So it creates an almost invisible seam. I mean, you'll still see the seam a little bit, but it's not too bad. And we have one more stitch to go, and that looks super crunched. Oh, there, all right, there we go. And there's that back loop. And now we have our waistband there. So as you can see, you can't really see the seam too much. So now we're going to get ready to work on the rest of the pants. and we will be working in the round. So we need to work round 1. So obviously I'm going to use this as the back of my pants, the seam here. So we are going to chain 1, and we're just going to work a single crochet right there in that seam stitch, and we're just going to continue to single crochet around, and I am working 40 single crochet because I have 40 stitches around. So if you have, let's say, 42, then you're going to want to work 42 stitches around. So you want to make sure whatever stitch you single crochet you work around, it has to be an even number. So 40 obviously is an even number. So I am going to keep going here, working my single crochet, my 40 single crochet. So these are just at the ends of our rows that we made. So I'm just working my single crochet. So pretty easy here. So I'll keep going. I'll meet you back when I have my 40 single crochet. Okay, so I have my 40 single crochet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a stitch marker in that last stitch. And I'm just using a scrap piece of yarn here. You can certainly use an actual stitch marker if you have them. And so we're going to mark that stitch. And now we're going to be ready for round 2. So round 2, we're going to jump right in and we're going to work a half double crochet. And we're just going to half double crochet around. So this is going to be a couple rows or rounds, of half double crochet, and we're going to work them in continuous rounds. So that means we're not going to join with a slip stitch, chain 1, start the new stitch. We're just going to keep going around and around and around. So I am not sure how many rounds. I have to look at my notes, and those are downstairs. So I will get back to you to let you know how many rounds of half double crochet we're going to be working, and then we'll start dividing the pant legs. So I'm going to finish up my round 1. I will meet you back. Okay, so I finished round 2. I just have to work that last stitch. So I'm going to pop out my stitch marker and work that half double crochet. I'm going to put that stitch marker back in there. And then we are just going to continue for round 3. So I'm just jumping right in, working that next half double crochet. So this is round 3. So rounds 3 through 8, you're just going to continue to half double crochet around and around and around. And then round 9, we're going to get started to divide for our pant legs. Okay, so we've worked our 8 rounds. So now we're going to get ready to work on the right pant leg. So what we're going to do is we still mark that last stitch. We're going to jump right in with our half double crochet, and we are going to work 20 half double crochet. Okay, so we have our 20 half double crochet. Now if you crocheted a different amount around the waist, so if, let's say you had 42, and also you do not have to work the same amount of rows as I did. So what I did is I would try it on, so I would shimmy this up and see how much this covered in the tummy area of my doll, and you know how close it was to the tops of her legs. So you could do that as well if you're, you might need to work more rows, less rows, but like I said, this is a customizable pattern, so you can just take these principles and then just apply them to the type of doll that you have, or you can use the same exact numbers that I am using. Alright, so I have my 20 single crochet, or 20 half double crochet, I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chain 10. Okay, my 10 chains. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and I am going to work a half double crochet in my first stitch. So we have actually completed round 9, and we are going to start on round 10. So the stitch next to that stitch marker, we're going to pop that in there, work our half double crochet, and now we have our first stitch for round 10, and we are going to continue round 10, and we're going to work our half double crochet until we get to our chain. So I'm working my 20 half double crochet, and then I will be at my chain. So I'm going to do that and I'll meet you back. Okay, so we're still working on round 9. So I have my 20 half double crochet. So now what we want to do is we're going to work in the chain, because this is going to divide the pant legs. So I have my yarn over, and my first chain I'm going to work a half double crochet. So you do not want to work around the chain, you want to work in it, because we're going to need the other half of the chain to work the other pant leg. So I'm working in my chain. I'm going to have 10 half double crochet, because we work 10 chains, and then we put it together with our 20, we're going to have 30 half double crochet. Now, as I said before, you can customize this, so if you try this on and the chain is too long or not long enough, you can adjust the chain accordingly to, however you need. I would suggest adjusting it with an even number. It just makes it easier, because we will need to do some decreasing, but that's just me. You don't have to. So I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to do a quick count off camera, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I have my 30 half double crochet. So we're going to continue working continuous rounds. So I'm going to pop out that stitch marker and place it in that last stitch I made on that chain. And then we'll be ready for round 11. And around 11, we are just going to work even. So I'm just going to half double crochet around. So in that first stitch there, she got a little crunched. There's some tension on that stitch, but there it is. And I'm going to continue around, and I will have 30 half double crochet, and then in my last stitch, I will be placing a stitch marker. And then we'll get ready for round 12, and we will be doing some decreasing, because I guess if you really wanted wide leg pants, you could do that, but I want these to have more of a tapered leg. I'm thinking maybe these will be capris. My other sample, I made long pants, but you could even make shorts. You could do a lot with this pattern. Like I said, this is just like a basic pair of pants, and you can adjust it accordingly, to however style you would like. So I'm going to keep going here, and I will meet you back. Okay, so now we are ready to work round 12. Still using my stitch marker, so we're going to decrease. So we are going to shrink this pant leg down a little bit. Now, if you prefer a wider leg pant for your doll, then maybe you won't want to decrease, and you can just keep working around and around, but I do want to shrink mine down a little bit to have it a little more fitted. So what we're going to do is we're going to work a together stitch or a decrease stitch, and we're not going to do it in the traditional way. So we're going to do it in a sequence of 6. So we're going to work 4 half double crochet, so just working even. So we have our 4 stitches, so now we're going to work the decrease stitch. So we're not going to do the traditional way, we're going to do it so it's a little bit more seamless. I prefer this way because then you can barely notice the decrease stitches. So you want to do your yarn over, you're going to insert your hook in that front loop of the next stitch and the front loop of the next. So now you have 4 stitches. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 3 like a regular half double crochet. And we're going to do that again. So we're going to work 4 stitches. And now we're ready to work our decrease stitch. So front loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 3. And we're going to repeat that all the way around, and we will have 25 half double crochet for round 12. Now, if you worked a different number, so I have 30 here, so let's say you have 42 stitches, you could still decrease by 6 if you wanted to, or if you didn't want it to be significantly smaller, you might want to just decrease 2 times. You know, again, it just depends on the look that you're going for, but I want my pants to be a little bit more fitted. I mean, similar, I guess, to like skinny jeans in a way, even though it's not jeans, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to keep going around working my half double crochet decrease section. And also when you're decreasing, you want to just make sure they're spread out too. So you wouldn't want to, let's say you only wanted to do 2, you wouldn't want to do them all like in one spot. So I would do maybe 1 in the front, 1 in the back, just so it, you know, it just looks nice and even. Alright, so I'm going to keep going and I'll meet you back at the end of round 12 here. Okay, so I finished up round 12. I have 25 half double crochet. So rounds 13 through 17, we're just going to work even. And I'm not sure how many rounds I'm going to make these pants, because I think I want them to be more like capri pants. So ending maybe around the calf area, where the other pants that I made, the green ones, go all the way to the ankle. So I will let you know how many rounds I worked with the green ones. And like I said, you can play around with the length of these pants and how wide you want the pant leg. You could even add things to the cuff of the pants if you wanted to add a little ruffle. You know, you can definitely get creative with this pattern. Like I said, it's a basic pant pattern, or you could even have shorts if you wanted to as well. I do have another shorts pattern for 18-inch dolls where they actually have little cuffs on them, so the pattern is probably similar. I made them last year, so people might think I remember every detail of every pattern I create. I don't. I have to go back and look and see what I did. So I'm going to keep going, working my rounds 13 through 17, and I will meet you back at the end of round 17. Okay, so I've worked my 17 rounds, so I want to decrease again. This is entirely up to you. Like I said, I want these to be more fitted, so if you don't want yours as fitted, then you don't have to do this step. So we are going to decrease by 5, because I have 25 on here. So I am going, this is round 13, I'm going to half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then we'll do that same decrease stitch in the next, across the next 2. So front loop, pull through the 2, pull through the 3. And we're just going to continue that all the way around. So at the end of round 13 here, I am going to have 20 stitches, and I'm not going to decrease any more after this. And then my next rounds, I'm just going to half double crochet around until my pants are almost long enough. Okay, so I ended up working 21 rows. So now we are going to just work our last few rows. So I'm going to work 3 rounds, I'm sorry, not rows, rounds, 3 rounds of single crochet. So I'm just jumping in, working my single crochet, and you don't have to work 3 rounds. Or you don't even have to work single crochet at all, but I just think it gives a little bit of a finished look. But you could definitely add a different cuff if you like. You could add a ruffle, you know, fun fur, you know, the fuzzy yarn, you know, you could just do a different color. You could do a lot of different things to kind of personalize your pants. And these are going to be capri pants, and the green ones are long pants. So I worked 26 rounds for the long pants using the D-Kate weight yarn from Paint Box Yarns, and then I worked 3 more rounds of single crochet, so for a total of 29 rounds for the long pants, and they hit right at the ankle for my 18-inch doll. So I am going to finish up. So when I am finished with my 3 rounds of single crochet, then I'm going to join with a slip stitch and cut my yarn. And my right side of my pants will be done, and then we'll have to work on the left side. And the left side is similar to the right. There are a couple little differences, nothing too crazy, but I will meet you back when I am done my 3 rounds of single crochet. Okay, so here we go. We've got the right leg done. I joined, so I'm not like super thrilled that the join is in the front, but when I finish it, weave in the ends, I'll just clean that up a little bit. But you could add like a ruffle or something like that to hide that. It would be fine. I think it's going to look fine when it's on the doll, and you can play around with different finishes on the ends of your pant leg. Like I said, this is just like a template for you to kind of customize and make the type of pants that you want for your doll. So let's do the left leg. So we're going to turn it on upside down. So you want this part facing you. This is the back, so this is the seam. And we're going to attach the yarn here. So this is going to be round 9 for the pant leg, the left pant leg. So I'm just going to attach my yarn right here. It doesn't matter, somewhere in the back here. So for the left one, you're actually going to have 1 extra round than the right one. It will look fine on the doll. It just, we have to make the left one slightly different than the right. It's going to be mostly the same. There's just going to be a few little differences, and one being 1 extra round. Okay, so let's chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet. So for this round, when we did round 9 here, we had the chain 10, and we're going to work in that. And then when we stitched around the chain, we had 30 half double crochet. But for this round, we're actually going to have 34, because when you're stitching around, you can see you have this gap here. So we're going to add stitches here just to fill in gaps so it looks as neat and tidy as possible. Because if we just stitched here and then jumped here, it would not look that nice. Alright, so I've got my first half double crochet there. I'm just going to continue to half double crochet until I get to that first gap. So I'm going to have 34 stitches. We're going to add 4 extra stitches. We eventually will get back down to 30, and we're going to work a stitch here, and we're going to work in here. Now there's different ways that you can work. So you can, if you kind of want to do a decrease stitch, so sometimes when you're working like this and then you're jumping to this stitch here, so this is the end of the chain, see that kind of gaps there? And you don't really, I'm really a perfectionist, so you can kind of do a together stitch to help with that. And because this is kind of a big hole, you sometimes can pick up an extra loop somewhere, like let's say down here, and then go in this stitch here, pull through those 2, and then pull through. So it's, and then it just kind of fills it in a little bit. So you just kind of eyeball it and see, you know, what you need to do so that it looks as nice as it can. So I'm just going to keep going, stitching around. So this is working on the other side of the chain here, and then I'm going to come over here and I'll add my 2 extra stitches. So again, I'm going to have a total, sorry I bumped the camera, total of 34 stitches for, so this is round 9 of the left leg hole. So I will meet you back at the end of this round. Okay, so I have my 34 stitches. I attached my stitch marker. Okay, so for round 10 here, we actually want to decrease 2 times. So I'm just going to jump right in like we did. Make that first stitch a little tight. We're just working continuous rounds again. So I'm going to try to do my decreases, because we eventually want to get back down to 30 like we had on the other side, but we want to do it gradually so it doesn't, you just want it to look like when you're decreasing, you don't want to do it too much too soon, because it's just not going to look nice and like clean and smooth. So you want to do it gradually. So we're just doing the 2. So I'm just going to add one right here. You want to place them where it's not that noticeable. So we're going to decrease like we did on the other side. Front loop, pull through the 2, pull through the 3. And I'm going to do another one. This is the other side of that chain there, so that's not going to be noticeable when it's on the doll. So you just want to strategically place your decreases so that nobody really knows what you did. So this is just shaping. Okay, so I'll pop my second decrease here. So then for round 10 of the left leg, I will have 32 stitches. So I'm just going to keep going, working my half double crochet around, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so there we go. I have my 32 stitches. So what we want to do is we want to do another decrease round. So we're going to just be repeating round 10. You're going to decrease 2 times, and then we'll be at our stitch count that we want, 30 stitches. And then round 12, you're just going to work even. So we're just going to half double crochet all the way around for round 12, and again still use your stitch marker. Round 11, repeat round 10. So decrease 2 times, just strategically place those decreases where they're not going to be real noticeable. And then round 12, work even, so just 1 stitch in each. You should have 30 half double crochet, and I will meet you back at the end of round 12. Okay, so I worked round 12. I just worked even. I have 30 stitches. So round 13, we are going to do the decrease round, and we're going to work in a sequence of 6. So we're going to half double crochet in the first 4 stitches. And then the next 2, we're going to work that decrease. So 1 and 1, front loop, pull through the 2, and then pull through the 3. We're just going to continue that around. So just work 1 half double crochet in the next 4, and then you'll work that decrease stitch or together stitch, and then you will have 25 half double crochet at the end of round 13. Rounds 14 through 18, you're going to just work even, 1 half double crochet in each stitch, and I will meet you back at the end of round 18. Okay, so I finished up round 18 there, and now I'm going to decrease one more time. So we're going to decrease in a sequence of 5. So you're going to half double crochet in this first 3 stitches, and then you'll work that decrease stitch, and then you'll have 20 half double crochet. So of course, if you did it different than I did on the right pant leg here, you want to make sure that your left leg matches your right leg, but just remember that you're going to have 1 extra round, but again, it's not going to affect the look of the pants when they're on the doll. So rounds 20 through 22, I'm just going to work even, and then I am going to work 3 rounds of single crochet. So rounds 23 through 25, I'm just going to work single crochet all the way around. Then I will join and cut my yarn, and my left pant leg will be done. So I'm going to go do that, and I will meet you back. Okay, so here are my pants. I think they're super cute. And as you can see, this is one round longer, and you can't tell. It just works. So of course you're going to need to weave in your ends, and then you're all set for your doll. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.